full screen. There we are. There's that. Here's me. Here's this. Here's pin, mute, hide self view. Stop video.
Down at the bottom, there's a green icon.
The share button.
Right. Okay, so let's go there.
Here you go.
Okay, so everybody can see all that.
Now we see your desktop
stuff and right. Okay, so let's just go out of there.
There you go.
I'm gonna clean up all the other junk here that nobody cares about. Okay, so if I was to open up a Finder window, and was to go in my applications folder, I probably have a couple of installers in here. Installers from Apple hidden. Okay. Okay, so here's a Sierra, for instance. Now, if I was to try to run that, it's too old, couldn't run it anyways. That's probably why Greg couldn't run it. Anyways, what we're trying to show you is that there is that point upon which it says, okay, everything's all good, press go to start. Well, we're going to ignore that for the moment because we're not going to press go to start because we're not going to run the application. We just wanted to share with you that in the process of running this updater from Apple, it deposits the installer in your applications folder. That's where it's run from. So
okay, let me repeat this back to you because I want to be sure that because I have a question about it. So I go into updates and I tell it, okay, go ahead and download. Right. And that then will put it into the applications folder. And then I stop it before it says go. Is that accurate?
Right. It'll put it in the application folder, then it will automatically start that application up and say, okay, we're ready to start your installation.
Okay.
And then say, hey, you know what? Never mind. And just do a quit.
Yeah, I want to work on it later. I'm going to lunch or whatever.
Yeah, quit. And then open Parallels and take Parallels to that.
Right. Yeah. So now I'm in Parallels, and you can forget my control center here, which just happens to show a couple of the different operating systems that I already have.
Okay.
Okay. So under Parallels, I could run File New. Just like Word, you would create a new document. In Parallels, you create a new operating system.
Or just hit the plus button on the.
And Parallels, when you say Create New, it'll say, do you want to run a Windows 10? Just click on this one on the left. If you want to install Windows or another operating system from a DVD or an image file, such as that I'm clicking on that, then I'm clicking on Continue, and then it found a Windows 10, and it found a Mac OS Sierra, it found a Mac OS Catalina. So remember that one that I found a moment ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, remember, it wouldn't let him install it directly, but in this environment, it would let you install it.
Correct. And so it tells me, okay, to be able to install this, it's going to need to do blah, blah, blah. And so, you let it create whatever it needs to do and let it go on. My Mojave computer right now wouldn't let me install this. But Parallels doesn't care because it's creating image files and you can see all of these ones that already exist here.
Yeah, I see.
And that's what this is all about, as well as Linux and all the different kinds of things.
Right. Now, it does have to be an operating system that the actual computer could have used at some point in time.
Right.
So, like as an example, if the oldest operating system was Maverick that this computer came with when I bought it brand new, I can't put an older operating system on prior to that. No, I guess you can in some cases.
Yes, you can. Sure. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yes. Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
Well, what you can't do is you can't go forward beyond what this computer can run.
That's true.
If this computer doesn't have the brains to install the operating system comes out in 2030, you can't all of a sudden make this computer be something it's not.
Yeah,
okay.
But you could install OS 10.12 on the computer even though it's bad. All you have to do is, if you wanted to install that on your Mac, all you have to do is back the date up prior to when they made all the changes on the certificates for the operating system. they changed that, so now all the older stuff won't install from your old installers. You have to download a new installer to be able to install it on your Apple computer.
For the moment, Janine, I would forget all of that. It's more than you need to know. It's
I would need some hand holding on that
I'm
one.
sorry.
It's TMI.
That's okay.
I'll shut up.
No. It's
not.
all
You're
right.
not going to get right. While it might be technically accurate, it's not going to help you.
Okay, but all right. Here's the second part of it. I do want to get the new Mac Pro, and that's going to come then with Catalina. And so that means that I can't use Mojave on the new one. And, you know, I guess I could take it
Hold
over
on.
there.
Wait a
put
moment.
the files
Hold on.
over there. But how do
Wait
I
a
do
minute.
that? Okay.
You get a new Mac Pro.
Yeah.
It's running Catalina.
Right.
You install Parallels.
Yes.
You
a parallel version that works with Catalina.
You will install Mojave on your machine that's already running Catalina. If your machine is already running Catalina, Mojave, you install Catalina as the Parallels operating system.
Okay, so are you saying then that Mojave is also in the applications folder already?
On your Mojave, no. You would have to then download that from Apple's website. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, now that's kind of a pain, because the actual keyboard commands, if the computer recognizes you're running 10.10.13,
right,
it really won't let you go back to 10.10.12. You could do a Google search and say, how do I install Mojave with a Catalina operating system? And then it'll give you the process of how to get access to it.
Absolutely. You can get that file, that installer file, from a friend who has it. It might be the easiest, quickest way to do it.
Well, it should be backed up, shouldn't it? On
remember, you need the installer app. You need the installer app, not the actual operating system.
Okay. All right.
Because on your new computer that comes with Catalina, it will be difficult to get to download a Mojave installer for that computer. But you can get one.
It is doable. It is doable. It's just kind of a pain.
Right. And so easier is to get on a chat and grab one from Greg or me or Stuart or anybody else who happens to have one.
All right. I will do that once I get it. I've got a new monitor on order, but they say it won't be here. It takes a full month before it will arrive.
Right. Well, you're going to have fun, and nothing good happens quickly, or something.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Parallels have an operating manual so you can slug through all of this? Are you
written?
Yeah.
I don't think anything does. I think they stopped putting trees.
But there's all kinds of online help.
Yeah, go to YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube is an excellent source. Very
you're
good.
right, Stuart. Go to YouTube. Everything's there.
Yeah.
I got to ask you something about Parallels. When I got my first Mac computer, that was around 2010. I got Parallels because I still had Windows software that I was using. And at that time, Parallels really slowed down things. Does it still do that, or is it pretty seamless now in terms of speed?
Well, you got to remember, first off, that was 2010. This is 10 years later. So part of the problem was you're translating from one language to another language to another language. You were 2 or 3 levels down by the time you got to what you really wanted to do. Nowadays, everything is, well, especially under Catalina, everything is 64-bit. So if you've got a 64-bit version of Parallels, it's got a lot more hooks and a lot more access. It's going to be slower than it would be if you could run it natively, but it's probably going to be nearly invisible, I would think. Wouldn't you, Robert?
Yeah, it's all dependent upon what kind of computer are you running it on. If you have an old computer, you cannot expect Parallels to run some other operating system really fast and really quick, because you can't. It's not a time machine. It can't make what you've got better than what you've got. If you have a good operating system, if you have a good processor, enough RAM, enough hard drive space, you'll be satisfied.
Actually, if you have a couple of smoke a couple of joints, then you don't care so much.
Or spend
Oh, I do,
$50,000
because if
and
I
get 1.5 terabytes of
I'll end
RAM.
up with an
There you
asthma
go.
attack.
I'm
There you
sorry.
go. And actually, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, I missed it.
If you've got solid state drives and you can load everything into the solid state drive, that gives you a lot faster access.
Absolutely.
Right. It is those tricks that, I mean, memory is cheap. Again, hard drive space is cheap, but better than a hard drive is solid state. So if you have a decent processor with a solid state drive, you're probably right where you want to be. Yeah.
I mean, when we upgraded Marsha's MacBook Pro, it had a 250 gig spinning drive in it. When Steve was still with us, I bought a 1 terabyte drive. That one took an off-the-shelf 1 terabyte. This MacBook Pro doesn't. In fact, Apple wanted so damn much money for a 1 terabyte internal drive on this. I gave up the idea. It was ridiculous, like $600. But for hers, over at Micro Center at the time, they were like $200 for a 1 terabyte drive. We cracked the thing open, cleaned out all the dog hair because she had collected a lot of dog hair inside that. Put that 1 terabyte in. It was like a brand new computer going from a spinning 256 to a 1 terabyte solid state. It was amazing what a difference in speed it made.
Right. Yes. Yep. Yeah.
What third-party RAM do you suggest?
Not significant. Pick. You've got Crucial, you've got Kingston, you've got any of the big names. You're good to go.
All right.
It's not quite as important as it once was.
How about a spinning drive? How about Western Digital for an old-fashioned spinning drive? They're okay?
Yeah, it's as good as any.
Okay.
Don't expect a 10-year life from any drive you buy these days. And you'll be better off. I mean, the worst case is to think that we're buying the quality or the lifetime that we once bought with hard drives. Expect a life of a hard drive to be 5 years, and after that, you should recognize that maybe it's time to double up again. Hard drives don't have a guaranteed life. Like 10 years, they don't run 10 years like they used to.
Right.
That's the best.
The good thing is they're 1/3 the price when they do fail, and they're 3 times the storage.
There you go. And that's the trick is when you get, because we tend to collect things, they tend to fill up. If you were finding your hard drive is getting full, say, Yahoo, I get to go and get a new hard drive and it'll be twice the size, because that's an appropriate time to replace it.
Before it fails.
Before it fails, that's right.
Yeah. And use the old one as a backup for emergencies or something. Or clone your operating system over there so you've got a backup in case everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
No, that's the time for when to get a new drive, when the old one fills up. Because we never really, no matter who we are, we don't buy we typically don't buy drives that are as big as we think. We buy a drive, we think it'll last us forever, and it doesn't. But when it doesn't, that's the timer. That's the fire smoke alarm beeper that goes off. It says, okay, it's time to buy a new one.
Yeah, one day Costco had a deal on it's an external, it's a 3.5-inch drive, but it's probably 2 inside there, but it was an 8 terabyte drive for like $200. Now it uses its own brick, so it's not something that's really portable. But all I wanted to do was to keep my Apple movies and music on that thing. And so I've got like 6.5 terabytes of that loaded up so that I can get access to it whenever I want. That becomes my poor man's network server.
Now, of course, the downside from all of where we're making fun of is that you will need to continue to be backing up stuff.
Oh, definitely.
And
Remember, this is stuff I bought off of Apple, so I can always get it again. That's not a problem.
okay, all right, but do recognize that the larger they are, you continue to have to back up, and that's where it's good to be smart about your backup methodologies, so that getting a large size, making sure getting a larger size doesn't inhibit you from doing the right thing, and keep backing up the things that you wouldn't want to be without.
I got 3 of those 8 terabytes. I used 2 for backup, and the third one I haven't opened yet, so that when one of them fails, then I'll have another one instantly right there.
Well, it's called it depending upon the situation, the type of I mean, when you talk about multiple drives on my Synologies that I spoke of, I have a 5-disk Synology NAS, and I actually use 4, and the 5th drive is in there as a hot swap, such that it automatically recognizes to grab it if it should need. If one fails, it automatically switches over.
Okay.
So you can get pretty crazy, and it's not out of the woods crazy expensive like it used to be to have this kind of security.
The other thing you can do with that drive that you have in reserve there, do a backup to that periodically, and then take it and stick it in your bank safe deposit box. That way, if you have a fire at your house, or there's some natural disaster or something, a bank vault survives literally anything except a nuclear blast. And what you do, of course, is periodically swap the drive from the bank vault.
Well,
Your thing. That way you don't have to depend on cloud or anything where, other.
Because everyone doesn't have a bank vault, the trunk of your car will do fine as well.
Providing you're not in a major accident where the car burns to the ground.
But if you're in a major accident where the car burns to the ground, your house is just fine with all of the stuff there.
Yeah.
Unless your car was in the garage.
Right.
When the house burned.
I had a customer for years, an insurance company, and because I guess it was farmers that he was dealing with. Farmers would not work under a Mac operating system, but he hated PCs. So all of his Macs in there were running Parallels, and because everything on Farmers was addressed on the web anyway, so it didn't make any difference. So he had it set up pretty slick, and we ended up making up. We ended up doing an exact making all the PC environment combinations exactly the same on all of them, because everything was network-wise. And then he had a couple of network drives that they all had access to. So we ended up taking 2 smaller drives and making clones of one, so that if one went down, he could plug that clone in and it would be up and running on that computer right away until we worried about it later. But one of the things that he did that I thought was pretty smart in his backup scheme that he had like 3 or 4 drives, and he didn't use Time Machine. He ended up using like Super Duper or Carbon Copy or whatever. And one ran at like noon and the other one ran at like 6 p.m. or whatever it was. He had it a couple of times during the day that it did incremental backups. And then one of the drives was set up so that every night when he was leaving work, he unplugged that drive and plugged it and took it home. And the next morning he walked in he had another drive at home that he swapped out every day that he went to work. So he figured, well, the chance of the office going and home at the same time was pretty slim.
Boy, that's good discipline. Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. And but my point to putting a little bit of a damper on the bank thing is not everyone has a bank thing. It takes time and memory to go to the bank. You don't want to. It takes a lot more energy. The less energy it takes to do something, the more likely you want to do it.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
But make it.
If you don't make it convenient, you won't do it.
Right. Absolutely. So that's why I go for the trunk of the car, because it's pretty hard not to think of a time that you're going to be on your way to the car.
Very cool.
All right. What do you have something?
I have nothing set up, Robert. With all the hassles with my mom and Marcia and stuff like that.
That's good. So we'll just open it up. Does anybody have any issues you've been trying to resolve through the month? Wonderful.
I still have not gone to Catalina because I have so many 32-bit applications that I use all the time. Do you think they're ever going to come up with some sort of a tool that you can run a 32-bit application on Catalina?
No, Apple won't bother. I mean, the last 2 or 3 operating systems they've had work with both 32 and 64, and they just wanted to cut it off at some point in time. And they warned everybody a year and a half in advance that they were going to do this. So, you know what, Stuart? I don't personally think that I'm running Catalina. I don't personally, after using it now for 5 months and the beta before, if I was going to do it again, I wouldn't bother.
Okay.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with it, but just for that reason alone, I wouldn't bother. Mojave is fine.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm running Mojave, and I'm about as geeky as you get. And I'm not. I've grown past the need that I have to have the absolute latest and greatest to be running it. I don't feel the need to run on the bleeding edge.
Well, one of the things that I discovered, Robert, sorry to interrupt you there. One of the things that I discovered is, I mean, they have a feature, what do they call it? Screen share or whatever the hell it is, where you can set an iPad or whatever and extend your screen. Well, I could do that before with a $20 accessory. Guess what? It doesn't work on a 2012 MacBook Pro. The hardware's too old. But they don't say that anywhere. So, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to upgrade. I thought, hey, there's one third-party extension I don't have to use because it's built in. I couldn't get it to work. I had to do Google search on it to find out, oh, well, if you had like a 2016 or later MacBook, it would do it. And there's no two ways about it. Probably come April after tax time, I'm going to buy myself a new MacBook Pro. It's about $3,000, same as what I paid for the last couple models I've had. But now in the same size 15-inch package, I'll get a 16-inch screen and a keyboard that's not failing, speakers that are still working.
Right. I think it's Sidecar that you were speaking of.
Sidecar, that's it. You're right.
Yeah.
And you know what? Duet works fine. Duet works fine.
You know, this is the age where our computers, what we have, are typically good enough. They do everything we need to do. And again, past the need for bleeding edge, I know that at some point in time, the computer I'm using will fail, not be worth replacing, whatever it is, or some particular need will just tell me, oh my goodness, I have to do it. And at that time, I mean, right now, to be honest, I'm still not ready to let go of my Panorama databases that I have, and they need to run under Mojave. Now, I could go to Catalina and do the parallels and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like, why?
You're not gaining enough of an improvement to make it worth the effort.
That's right. That's right.
That's the difference.
That's right. When the moment comes that there's something that tells me I want to really bad, I'll do it.
I will tell you that because of all the movies and stuff that I have, the Apple's they separated movies and TV away from iTunes.
Right.
Smart. Should have done that years ago. But the interface sucks big time.
Really?
And it looks totally different on the iPad, on my 2 iPads and the iPhone than it does on the Mac side. On the Mac side, half the time there's duplicates of the same entry, and I have to manually go in and fix those myself, which pisses me off. And if it's a movie I don't have a local copy of, I normally used to be able to click on it and it would come up and it would say, yes, and yeah, you purchased this, click here to download it. Now what you have to, here's a good example. If I want to look for, let's say, Iron Man 3, I have all 3 Iron Man movies.
The webinar here.
If I go to Iron Man 3 and type it in, even though I'm on my library, it only searches on the Apple website. It doesn't search within my own website, within my own load. Instead, what I have to do is I have to get out of that search bar and start to type in Iron Man 3, and then it goes to the I section of my movie. That's stupid right there by itself. Then for whatever reason, they decided to do a widescreen like we're seeing here on the gallery view, a widescreen, but they'll have like the the cover artwork hasn't been changed. So now you've got this box the size of one of these windows with 1/3 of it's got the artwork, where before they did it better and it was cleaner looking, you could get more images on it. That's just a nitpicky thing. But stupid things like if I need to download a copy of Iron Man 3, I have to actually go to the store, click on the buy option, go through and put in my password, come up and get the approval for it to be bright enough to say, oh, you've already purchased this. Would you like to download it? Now that's like 5 steps later than what it was before. But on the iPad, you just click on it and it figures out to go over there and download it.
Right. And, you know, all of these
really stupid. I wouldn't upgrade again in my. I'll never automatically do the bleeding edge again. It's just not worth the effort.
Without
take the arrows.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Phil. Oh.
I just said it's the pioneers that take the arrows.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And right, without the desire
The bleeding
to be
edge. The bleeding edge.
Yes. So without the, you know, and I've heard people poo, and you know, I've often not thought that the naysayers. I've always thought the naysayers were overblowing things, etc. But perhaps I'm now more into the get off my lawn kind of place.
The old man syndrome.
Right. And I'm recognizing that at this moment in time, this kind of change at this moment is a upgrade when you need to, want to. Don't upgrade just because it's there. I think that really isn't a departure in any big way from many of my past sermons.
Luckily, the upgrades are free. There was a time I would be willing to spend that $125 just to have the latest, greatest, and I didn't get enough from it to make it worthwhile, you know. But I would have done it just to be current.
Well, what we got from it, Greg, was the thrill of running something new. That was what we got.
That's right. Something different.
Well, there was a time when we had a philosophy of you need to be up to date.
Well,
That's true.
Okay, up to date is relative. Catalina is a new operating system. Up to date means having the latest version of what you've got. I have Mojave. I have the latest version of Mojave. That is up to date. Today, up to date doesn't necessarily mean Catalina. So I'll allow anybody to say they're up to date, even though they're not running Catalina. That's not the rule that you have to follow.
Yeah, I think more than anything else, it's
changed.
compatibility between 2 or 3 other operating systems to get considered up to date.
Right.
In my case, I'm the type, as long as it's free, of course, that I like to have the latest and greatest.
I agree. I did too until this version.
I'm my hobby because I'm still getting reports.
Yeah, you got the problem with extensions and Photoshop.
Hasn't got everything working with Catalina correctly with Photoshop and
Lightroom.
Lightroom. One of the two. I use both of them. So as soon as I start getting good reports on the Adobe stuff working well with Catalina, then I'll make the switch at that time. Of course, by the time they do that,
you'll be 3 operating systems down the road.
To, Anna Kappa.
That's right.
Well,
I was thinking the same thing. That's what'll happen.
Well, and again, do things when you feel the need to. Nobody should ever bang on you for not doing what they're doing, kind of thing.
The practical thing is does the new operating system give you a feature that would be of real benefit to you, number one, and number two, is your computer new enough to be able to take advantage of that feature? Because like one of the nice things I thought when I was still working is that there was a feature where you could put on your Apple Watch to unlock your computer, since I don't have the touch feature like you do on yours to unlock my computer when I walk up to it. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I'd get close enough to my computer. They both have Bluetooth. The problem was the hardware in the computer didn't work. It was just too old of a box to work with it. So I tried a couple of third-party utilities. What did I gain? I gained nothing. Half the time it didn't work because it was a third-party thing that sort of worked sometimes. So it just wasn't worth it. So you got to make sure if it's a feature that the operating system offers, is your computer new enough to be able to take advantage of that feature. And that kind of bugs me that Apple, I'm sure they do somewhere, but they don't them and a lot of other, I'm necessarily not picking on them. They don't have a place that says, you know, down there, oh, by the way, this feature, sidecar requires a 2018 or later model. This requires a 2016 or later. I'm sure that exists somewhere for the developers, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And so like an idiot, I couldn't wait to get, because I thought, hey, you know, that's one more application. I don't have to run as a third party on here. Well, it didn't work anyway, so it didn't solve the problem.
You're right. Newer technologies do often require the newer hardware, and you're not going to find a list, an easy to found list of all the things that you can't, that you're going to need to use this newest, latest, greatest feature. Apple's no company has a benefit to go out and take the time to advertise all of what they can't do unless you use the latest and greatest. It's just so that's just life. So
anyway. Oh well, you learn from your mistakes.
Well, now you have a little bit of a tease, maybe, or now you just have knowledge. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah. So, is anybody looking to go somewhere, do something with their computers that they that is in their future that they're trying to figure out that they're getting ready for?
There's one thing I'd like to show you all that you might be interested in. They've got new technology on the latest cruise ships now, at least Princess does. If you've done cruises, you know that when you go on board, you get a cruise card, which is like a credit card. And like if you buy drinks at the bar, they take your card, record the number on it to get the charges and everything. They've got a new thing, it's called Medallion Class. Instead of a cruise card, you get a thing like this. And it's really neat. When you approach your cabin, it automatically unlocks the door for you. What really took us by surprise is we went down to the bursar's desk to ask a question and walk up to the desk, and the person says, well, hello, Mr. Pulverman. When you get in range of their equipment, everything pops up on their computer screen, tells you who you are, what cabin you're in, and so forth. You go in to
probably shows your credit report, so they know what they can stick you with too.
Oh, absolutely. You go into one of the gift shops to buy something. You don't even have to show them the medallion. They've already got all the information in their computer. It's really something.
Yeah.
Ray,
and Google has all that stuff on you too. You know that, of course.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully once you get in and lock in your cabin and lock the door, it doesn't unlock if it's in your pocket and you walk by it.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you can always put the thing up to put it directly to the sensor, but I never found that it needed that. I came near the door and boom, my door was open.
Yeah.
It's basically like the push to start button on your car where you got the keys in your pocket kind of a deal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, but
very clever.
I think it's a little bit more intrusive than your fob for your automobile.
Ray, did you have your hands up for a question a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I just I don't usually say much. I sit back and listen to everybody else chit chat.
We used to call you lurker. A lurker.
I'm a rooker. Yes. They first of all, I'll start off with wishing everybody a happy New Year because
thank you.
I haven't seen you talk to anyone.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Being old, my equipment's old. I'm on El Capitan. My iMac is a 2007. I've got 3 gigabytes of memory.
Wow.
I'm running 10.11.6. I'm on AOL, Yahoo. I don't know if it's Yahoo, AOL, whatever it is, but they seem to control my computer, and they take me where they want to take me, not where I want to go. And the beach ball runs more often than the computer does. What do I do?
Get rid of AOL, first of all. AOL is the world's biggest ripoff. What you're getting for your money is you're paying for something you don't need. And basically, you're giving them, as you've discovered, control of your computer. They even control what you can see and where you can go on the internet. So first thing I would do is dump AOL.
Let me back off. Based upon what was just said here, did you say you're running AOL? You use AOL?
I use AOL. I mean, that comes up on my, every time I open it on Safari.
Okay. Who is your ISP? Who do you pay for internet?
AT&T.
Who?
AT&T.
Oh, AT&T. Okay.
I'm on a bundle. They've got everything.
Okay.
So do I.
Got it. So you're not using AOL as your ISP, which I'm not sure that they even do that anymore. But anyways, I'm not going to poo-poo Bart's suggestion there, as I might often, except to the extent that AOL is like an ankle bracelet that is distinctly inhibiting your life, whether you know it or not. They were purchased by Verizon, actually, and they are more of a leech than you probably recognize or understand. I don't even know if they charge for what they do anymore.
I don't. I've been with AOL since day one, and I pay nothing.
Right. And I was actually a charter member of AOL, so I understand that it's like saying to a family member, I'm not going to be a member of your family anymore. AOL, you feel you have this bond that it's a part of your identity. But let me tell you that to many people, if you ever should give them your email address at AOL, they will guaranteed know that you are an old white man. So
yeah, can I make a suggestion, Robert?
What's that?
Ray, what you should do is get yourself an at iCloud or at Mac or whatever. First off, they're free, and you can have as many of them as you want. So I would go to Apple and I would sign up and get myself a free account there, and you get 5 gigabytes worth of storage for whatever that's worth. But if you don't have a Mac account or an @me or an @iCloud, they're all the same. If you don't have one of those, you should have. One of the reasons why I switched over to Mac from years ago from having DSL Extreme and SBCglobal.net is those companies were being bought right and left, and the name was always changing. And I went to @Mac before they had @me or @iCloud or whatever. I did that at Mac because I thought, shit, at least it'll probably be around for a while and I won't have to change my name. But since they are free accounts, I would at least get that and slowly put all your new crap under @Mac or @me or @iCloud. At least it's sort of contemporary. Robert's right. When they see an @AOL, they may start laughing.
Well, and then to that end, I'm not prescribing that you need to run away from it, but it's time to open the door and step outside, because and like Greg says, grab onto another email address. AOL sold their services to.
Where does Yahoo come in?
Well, Yahoo bought AOL, and then Verizon bought the AOL portion from Yahoo. And the problem is that all of these transitions are layered on top of one of another, and you're at the bottom of the pile that they're dragging along. And so there's actual awkwardness and difficulty. I mean, your mail system are you using it at AOL for email?
AOL.
Okay. The problem is that you're actually being serviced by Verizon, and there's so many different layers that at some point they're going to give up on you, like it or not, because there's going to be few enough of you that they will be able to afford to, kind of thing. And so it is smart now to go out there and don't get a Yahoo email address, get a Gmail. that's way out there from where you're at, and just transition. Start slowly using that also.
Yeah,
And
you don't even have to bother to change them. Just whenever somebody asks you for your email, use your new email.
And you can check you can forward your AOL email to your other new account, whatever that may be. You don't have to check 2 different email addresses. So, but yeah, I would open the door, take a peek outside, and
But Robert, if you use the built-in mail program from Apple, you can have all your accounts listed in there, and they all show up in the same inbox.
Absolutely. I absolutely, no question.
I've never used that one. Yeah, that's why.
It's much more convenient. First off, as long as your computer's running, it's downloading the mail all the time. It's there. So the first time you unplug your computer, you've got within the last 10 minutes of whatever you had available.
Right. It behooves you to go out and investigate. Your computer will be, well, now let me back off from what I just said here. What operating system are you running?
I am running El Capitan.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. That's not right. No, that's not bad. There are operating systems that you won't be able to run Chrome or this or that kind of thing.
He's turned it up.
Yeah, right. So you're okay there. Yeah, it is the ankle bracelet of the word AOL that is what you actually want to move away from for your own safety and security at some point.
Yeah. How much RAM are you running?
It's like I have an iPhone 6, and I finally got a brand new battery. If anybody, you can get a new battery at the Apple Store, and I paid $49 for it. That's installed, so that was a pretty good deal, I thought.
Yeah, that is a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. If something is serviceable, Apple is it is typically a fine value to update it, to fix it. Apple will let you know when it is not worthwhile keeping something. They will drop support from it. They don't want to be known as the people that are ripping you off, supporting something that's out of date and old.
Yeah.
This is a Beats headphone.
That's not Apple. That's not Apple.
True, that's the problem. It's not Apple.
The stock has done very well recently.
Yes, thank God for that. Paying for some of my toys.
I don't think there's supposedly, from what I've heard, there isn't a stock out there that hasn't done well.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's true.
Trump said if it hasn't gone up 50%, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
It went over 29,000 the other day. So.
I think some of this is going to be a balloon as well. So.
Yeah.
But
waiting for it first.
Right.
A related question. If I've got a .Mac account and I've got a Gmail account, but I've kept my AOL thing just because I've got a lot of mail stored on their servers. Is there any way that anybody knows that you can get that mail moved to Gmail?
Of course. You've got an archive feature built into the mail program on the Macintosh.
Well, okay, hold on. I also have AOL. But
truth comes out.
And I say I have it. I didn't say I use it. And I have mail that checks that AOL account. But there are awkward, difficult things to do with regard to AOL that AOL you have to Google and you have to search out and you have to figure out. And there are limitations. So, I don't use it, but I have it, and mail checks it. So, Greg, I just say that so that you don't promise somebody something that you can't deliver with regard to mail, with regard to AOL. You'll run into, there are long strings and long threads in many forums about all of what AOL won't let you do kind of thing, and how difficult they used to make it. I'll say this again, how difficult they used to make it to do things. Nowadays, I don't think, I think that Verizon feels AOL as much as an anklet bracelet on them as it is on you. Verizon didn't get their money's worth. No one who has bought AOL has gotten their money's worth in the last 10 years.
Robert,
yeah.
I just went to Google and I did a search on how to get my archived mail from AOL. There's even YouTube videos on how to do it.
God, yeah, of course you are, because there is no menu to select in AOL or any of export or this or that. It is awkward. It is not as easy as it should be. But there's definitely people. It has a whole life of its own. The paths to get out of AOL. There are YouTube things because there's that many people trying to get out of it.
Just out of curiosity, when you get mail, do they still have the you got mail audio message, or have they done away with that?
You can turn it off.
I think you can turn it off, yeah.
Oh.
I just have a bunch of email that's archived on AOL from 5-6 years ago that I don't want to lose.
Yeah, you could. There's definitely ways of getting it, Larry, but you probably got to do a Google search like I just did. Because I would what I would personally do is create a folder locally on my computer on my Mac, and then I would get to those files on AOL and follow one of those routines on how to download it into that folder onto my computer, so that I've got a copy that's backed up by me somewhere.
Okay, I'll look into it.
And having old mail, and I'm looking, and I just looked at my AOL, and my AOL is up and running, and the last message I received from that might have been 2 years ago. But the problem of getting old is we do believe that our old stuff is worthy, and I guess that's why my mail program has over 100,000 messages in it. But I'll tell you, if it all disappeared yesterday, I probably would never notice for another 5 years. So.
Yeah, well, every once in a while, I just look for something that I know is there, and I can find it.
Bless you.
I would have left AOL.
It's kind of like when we pass on and people come over to our house in our garages, they throw away everything but that fits in about 2 cardboard boxes. Everything else, I say, why was he keeping this? So, yeah.
God love him. You should have seen what it was like going over to Steve's house to help clean out his garage.
Order.
That must have been fun.
Could you set up, for instance, for this AOL email, could you set up an AOL account in Apple Mail, download the AOL Mail to your mail program, and from there export it or archive it?
Sure, I think you could do that. I think there's a way of doing that. When I was doing that quick look, if I can get back to it, when I was looking at that quick look, it said, how do I retrieve old mails from AOL? How to recover permanently deleted emails? Can I recover permanently deleted? AOL mail recovery software. How long does AOL keep emails? Looks to me like there's a selection that does about anything you want to be able to do, Larry. It really does. Or Stuart, it looks like you can.
Okay, I have another question, if it's all right to change topics. My computer crashed the other day. We had one of those power outages. When it came back up, my watch will no longer open up my computer. I've just had to, before getting near it, and it would be right there. And now I just don't know where to find.
Feature.
Yeah, I do. And I like it and I use it, but now it doesn't work anymore. Does anybody know where in the operating system to allow that as a preference?
I'm thinking you might have to delete it in the Bluetooth and then re-add it, repair it.
Delete what?
Well, delete the device.
I don't know. I'm not sure where to even go.
I've
looked at preferences.
Janine, I'm sorry, what is it that's not working?
My watch used to unlock the computer. You know, when
Okay, got it. Okay, go to System Preferences.
Yeah.
Go to your user file, users and groups, typically.
There's the second. I gotta find it.
Hello, it's here. It was here yesterday.
I don't see it. I don't see users and groups. Can't imagine why I don't see it, but I don't.
She's like the fourth line in.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, there it is. I got it. Okay. I was just.
Right.
Okay, got it. I've got password, login items, contacts, card, parental controls. So I don't know where to go from there.
Give me just a moment here. I'm sorry. Okay, there you go.
Kenan, I'm just thinking that maybe the watch is no longer paired with the computer.
Well, no, that's not it.
Okay.
Let me keep guys go on, and I'll come back to this.
Okay.
My computer's too old to even have that option.
Hey, Janine.
Yeah.
Do you have a UPS system for your computer?
I'm not sure what you mean.
It's called an uninterruptible power supply, sometimes called an UPS.
Oh yeah, it went out and I haven't rehooked it up.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, it's my fault that I haven't done that, but so I got myself in trouble, and now I just don't know where to go to fix it.
Yeah, you need to be sure that you've always got your computer connected to an UPS.
I know I'm bad
about the peripherals, but the computer.
I've had so many family issues that I haven't had time.
Janine, if you go to your users and groups,
yeah.
There we go. Okay, security and privacy. I'm sorry. So system settings, security and privacy.
Okay, just a second. Security and privacy. I see that.
And then there's a checkbox there. Under general.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, bravo. Thank you.
Yep. It is a very, very handy feature. It is super. It's one of those things that when you have an older computer that isn't running that operating system or whatever it is, you see somebody else do it, you go, oh my God, that is so cool.
It is so cool, and I love it. And it's just that, why? Okay, here's the underlying question then. Why does a system crash change that? Why?
Security, perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah, because they don't know that it was an actual crash. It might have been somebody yanking the power to try to get around it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you log out from your Apple ID on your computer and then log back into your Apple ID on your computer, it will have disabled your credit cards that you've added to your wallet on your phone.
Okay.
It's just like every now and then on the iPhone. I mean, I just got myself a X11 Pro Max or whatever because I really wanted the 3 cameras. There was a couple, and the Face ID blows me away. I can't get over how good that Face ID, how convenient that is. But
so
every now and then
you'll upgraded?
Yeah, I finally did. I mean, I had a 7 Plus, so okay. I've waited 3 years, and so 3.5 years. But I notice every now and then the old iPhone did it, and this one does it too. Every 3 or 4 days or whatever, the first time I pick it up in the morning, you'll want a password. And I think it's just sporadically doing that to check and see if it's really, in fact, you.
Okay.
There are algorithms that, yes, it is purposely doing it when it is.
Okay. That's probably what happened then, yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Something looked out of the ordinary as far as it was concerned. That's why.
Okay.
Oh dear. Oh. So no other problems, questions, or issues? Things that we're trying to resolve, or things are on our list, huh?
I have a question.
What's that?
Can you, well, when you're making a clone with carbon copy cloner or super duper, is there a way you can set it up so that it's constantly cloning to that image?
To schedule it. Great.
Yeah, you can. There's a scheduler option. Yep. So like I have mine. I have Time Machine running, but I got an extra drive that I use for like my movies and video because I've got older drives. I figured might as well use them. I'm not using them for anything else, and so I have it like 1 a.m. in the morning. I figured I'd never be up that late. I'd be dead to the world. 1 a.m. it goes over, then it pulls just my music, clones my music, whatever's updated, onto that particular drive, and then at 3 a.m. it does the movies and TV drive onto a different drive. So I've got the scheduler built. You have you have to have a purchased copy of Carbon Copy Cloner to do that. But yeah, that's not a problem. It'll do that, and you can either have it do a complete copy. I don't. I let it. The first time I let it do a complete copy, and now it does an incremental from that point on. So it basically just updates the library on those two if I've since purchased anything.
Right, but what I mean besides that is, can you set up? Is there a setting so that it's constantly cloning?
You'd have to set the schedule to, let's say, there's no way to do it all the time. Even Time Machine doesn't do it all the time. It does it on a set schedule. So what you could do is you could set the schedule up to be every 15 minutes or every half hour or whatever it is. Do it that way.
And one other question, backing up, when you're using Time Machine, it fills up an extra drive really fast. Is there a rule of thumb on how big your Time Machine drive should be compared to the drive that you're backing up?
I've always heard it should be about 3 times the size of your drive.
Okay, I've heard that.
Now,
too.
what you can do is you can go into Time Machine options and have it not back up certain stuff. So
Right.
I don't have it back up the applications. What do I care about that? I'll download a newer version or whatever. I don't have it back up the operating system. I have that backed up anyway onto another drive, but it changes so seldom that's not an issue. So I've only really got it backing up data and documents. I don't let it back up my music or my movies or TV stuff because I already have a separate backup for that. So I have it basically just backing up my home directory, documents, and data, which I also have being backed up to Apple.
Right, and that'll really reduce the amount that you're backing
The
up.
amount of crap that's going over. That's right. And what you can always do with 2 older drives, if you're going to start, you got to be aware that there's always a risk. So hopefully multiple backups of some sort, like the off storage backup. But I've taken like 4 1 terabyte drives, put them on a powered USB bus, and have those plugged into the back of my Time Machine. But Time Machine doesn't use them. I'm just using it for the connection. And I set those 4 drives up to be 1 4 terabyte drive. Because I figure if it goes, the hell, the drives are sitting around collecting dust. Might as well use them anyway.
Yeah.
And so I have stuff being constantly backed up to that one, but I only have it do it certain times of day, usually when I'm not awake. So, which lately is becoming more and more often.
Greg?
Yeah.
Question about Time Machine backups. On Time Machine, it makes the backup every single hour.
You can change that. You can get a free utility called Time Machine Editor.
Right.
And with Time Machine Editor, you can go in, you basically turn off the automatic backups inside the Time Machine application. And then in Time Machine Editor, it's an external option to the built-in cron table or the scheduler that's built into the Unix operating system underneath the Mac operating system. So with Time Machine Editor, you can go in and say, okay, I want it to back up at 10:15, and then I want it to back up at 11:45, or you can set up as many as you want, certain days of the week. However, you can set up. It's easier than going in and trying to edit the cron table, that's for sure. And it'll take over. It's a freebie. I don't know if it's available on the App Store or not, but it's real. It is definitely free. Time Machine Editor. I'd look on the App Store first. I always look to see if it's on the App Store first. but it works extremely well. So like on one of the operating systems, I had something that was corrupted, and this is a couple of years back. And whatever, it always seemed like every time I was doing something that was very internet ate up a lot of internet resources, and I didn't have as fast an internet back then. It seemed like every time I'd get on this computer, Time Machine was running right then, and I'd have to manually go up and cancel it because I needed to get that resource back and try to get more bandwidth. And so I would set the scheduler up to where it only did it like every 3 hours or whatever. I knew, well, I'm not here between, when I was still working, I wasn't here between, let's say, 6:30 in the morning and 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So I let it run normally during those times. And then after that, it ran every hour on the hour, but at 10 minutes before the hour, kind of a deal. So that, and I just got in my head, don't be on the internet at 10 minutes before the hour or whatever it is, or I'll manually go cancel it or whatever. So I just did that myself. And that was one of the beauties of Time Machine Editor, that you could set that kind of stuff up. Now it's not an issue anymore. I've got enough bandwidth that it's a little flaky this morning, but it works fine. I mean, it was bad enough this morning. I got up this morning at 6, and I was watching some 1080p YouTube videos, and I started getting that, that blank screen, letting you know it's downloading. And I thought, oh, the hell of it. I want to see 2 or 3 more of those. I don't have to be watching these on this 15-inch monitor at 1080p. I went and changed it to 720p in the settings, and that solved the problem right then and there. So, and I really couldn't see a visible. My eyes aren't such that I can see the difference on a 15-inch screen. So, solved that problem. That answer your question, Bart?
Yes, thank you very much. As soon as we get done, I'm going to go and download that.
Yeah, it's real easy to use. Real easy to use.
Well, we're going to have a short day today.
Anybody got anything?
Yeah, one more question. On my iPhone, I have an iPhone 10. I haven't upgraded it to iOS 13, still 12.4. And every once in a while, the screen will just go black, just all of a sudden. And the only way to get it back is to a restart.
It doesn't come back with the home button or anything else?
No, no.
What kind of computer is this?
It's my iPhone.
It's an iPhone 10.
I've seen that. Rarely. I've seen it, and I don't know that there's another easy way when it does go dark like that. It doesn't happen often enough that it's something that's easily then fixed because you can't replicate it. But you're not the only one. That's all I have to say. Sorry.
If I contact Apple, they'll just say, have you upgraded to the latest operating system?
Yeah. No, I don't have a fix. Sorry.
Okay.
Is there anything specific that happens that you're doing just before it happens?
No, just.
Well, believe it or not, there's a Google note about that. How to fix an iPhone X that is stuck on the black screen of death. Actually, there's actually a YouTube video for that one.
Oh, and do you recognize a quick fix?
Let's see. It says the first solution: force your iPhone X to restart. Press and quickly release the volume up button. Press and quickly release the volume down button. Press and hold the side button until the Apple logo appears. That's their quickie one. So maybe that just resets that. I can tell you, we had gone on a cruise, a cruise up from Boston up through up into Canada and back with some friends 2 years ago. And sure as hell, my iPhone 7 Plus, we're there. We're in a rental car, and the 6 of us are driving around or whatever. Damn it, the GPS didn't crap it on the iPhone. Really pissed me off. You're raving about how great this thing is. And it never dawned on me to do a reset. And the reset solved the problem. When I took it back, when I went to the Apple store and I did a reset on it, that solved the problem. So you might want to get into general and go into reset. I don't think you'd have to reset any of your network settings or anything like that, but you might want it to do a regular or just a normal reset. That might solve the problem as well. But do a Google search on iPhone 10 screen goes blank. And there's 3 or 4 different possibilities in there.
Thank you.
Thank God for Google.
Yeah.
Well, but when they tell me that the fix is to restart your phone, I'm not quite sure.
I don't buy that one. No, but here's 5 solutions. 5 ways to fix iPhone X black screen of death when update to iOS. Now they're talking about updating it to iOS 13. So I wasn't aware that that was an issue, but they've got a couple of things there. Free up some iPhone storage space. Stuck on black screen won't turn on. No data loss. They've got an option for that one. So Stuart, give that a shot. What the hell? I'd give all those a shot.
Yeah. Okay.
And it looks like the worst case scenario is to reset it back to factory settings. So you'd want to do a full backup.
Yes.
And I not only to Apple, but that I would manually do a backup onto my computer as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then go for the full reset, and then let it restore from the backup.
Right.
I've got a question on Google. On my computer, and it drives me nuts.
You're already nuts.
Yeah. I'll do a search in Google, and the results of the search will come back on Yahoo. What's going on there? Because I hate Yahoo.
Yeah.
But every time I do a search, I'll go to Google, I'll type in my search parameter, hit go, and
Well, maybe what you need to do, Bart, is you need to go to Yahoo and put in your search. Maybe it'll come back on Google.
I've tried that.
You have something out there that's I think the same thing that Ray is having. You have something out there that's pointed it back to Yahoo for whatever reason.
Right. How do I find it and get rid of it?
Well, let's see if there's an answer.
$64,000 question.
I'm not even sure what search terms I'd use on it.
Are you saying that what's your browser?
I'm using Chrome.
Okay. Under Chrome, you have preferences, and in there is a search engine that acceptable search engines to be used, and it says search engine used in the address bar.
Yeah, I've gone in there.
And do you have other search engines? Do you have Yahoo in there?
Yahoo is not. I took Yahoo off the list.
And it still goes there.
It still goes there.
All right, here you go, Bart. I typed in, when I search on Google, the answer comes back on Yahoo.
Yeah.
By golly, there's a listing for that.
Oh.
Yahoo keeps replacing Google as my search provider. My Google Chrome keeps opening up in a Yahoo browser. That's another option. Yahoo installed itself on my Google Chrome and I can't change it. Yahoo is hijacking my Google Chrome browser and all instructions. So it says, people, how do I get rid of Yahoo search on Google? And there's a video that shows how to do that.
Oh, okay. That's on my
list. Type in, when I search on Google, the answer comes back on Yahoo. So give that a shot.
Okay.
Again, I'm intrigued because what is it beyond going to the preferences of Google and removing it? I mean, it sounds like there's some trick with ResEdit kind of thing that you need to do.
It does sound like something like a ResEdit. But I'm wondering if maybe there could be in the Safari itself, maybe a hidden extension or something like that might be doing.
Right. That's what I would imagine. But this is back to the AOL. Yahoo is AOL was a fine thing. It just got old. Yahoo is the slime that bought AOL and dragged it down to its level.
Well, here's a note, Robert. It says McAfee changed Google to Yahoo. I'd be real happy about paying for McAfee and having to do
McAfee
that.
is down there with Yahoo and the slime, and they dragged AOL down there with them. And because
default search engine switching back to Yahoo question.
Right. Because if you are an AOL person, you get dragged along as you're bought from one company to another, wherever it is. And so since there's some Yahoo within AOL at this point, that's one of the reasons why I was saying do venture out and check for things beyond what is currently in front of you. Yahoo is one of those companies that I've disliked for 15, 20 years. And
Yeah, the only thing it ever had good was the commercials.
Well, in their day, they were fine. But they just got ugly. And once they got into the gutter, they never got out. And when I see relatives that are on Yahoo, I cringe and run away because I don't want to deal with the problems that they're dealing with. And unfortunately, a lot of people have Yahoo email addresses.
Yeah, I still got one. I never get anything on it.
And I have one too, of course. But
okay, here's other things that says search is related to when I search on Google, the answer comes back on Yahoo. It's broken down into Yahoo hijack Chrome, Yahoo overriding Google, search the web, Yahoo, how to change Yahoo to Google, how to remove Yahoo provided search, remove search, yahoo.com, redirect from Safari, how to remove Yahoo search from Safari, how to get rid of Yahoo search on Google Chrome.
Hey,
So
Greg,
that's on that same page.
Are you trying to be a professional tech and take all the business away from us and showing all the secrets of how we fix things?
No, but I think shouldn't waste your time. You should always go check Google first, because 9 out of 10 times you're going to find an answer there. Probably a lot higher percentage than that.
Just taking away all the excuses to bitch.
Is that what it is? Okay. The only time I really bitch is when I haven't got Google access. I mean, it's worth it carrying the iPad with me when I'm in the motorhome. Now, I'm not going to take it on this trip leaving Monday, but it's worth carrying the iPad with me as well as the iPhone, just to have one to be able to search for crap.
Okay, and let me share that we're grouchy old men, because when I get around my kids and I ask them something and they want to know something, it's Siri, blah 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 blah.
That's true. You're right.
They live with frickin' Siri. Siri does everything.
That brings up an interesting thing. Every now and then, my iPhone, well, the watch will do it more than anything else. I'll wake up in the morning and the watch is switched over somehow to airplane mode.
Okay.
So of course, it switches over the phone to airplane mode. I turn it off on the watch, and it doesn't turn it off on the phone. That happens a lot. And so I'll be in the car and I'll say, "Play Michael Bublé." Hey Siri, play Michael Bublé. And a screen will pop up and it says, "No Siri access." And it kind of frustrates. I know what Apple's doing. It kind of frustrates me that there's not a little bit of Siri smart in the phone to the point that it can look inside my music library and see I've got Michael Bublé there and play what's there. But if you don't have internet connection, it won't even play the crap that's on your phone. You have to manually go do that. Boy, I hate doing stuff manually when you get so used to the automatic crap. But 9 out of 10 times, the reason Siri isn't working, somehow the phone got switched over to, and it's doing on the new 11, and it did on my 7 Plus. It's in airplane mode, and of course that turns Siri off. So I have no idea. That's the first thing I check now, as I've gotten used to. If it says that there is no Siri yet, I see 5G showing there, I'll quickly switch over and check the airplane mode right away. But it does kind of bother me that if the phone can do it manually, there should be enough Siri smarts built into the phone rather than have to query Apple every time to go ahead and just do it. You understand what I'm saying, Robert?
I do.
I know why Apple's doing what they're doing because they don't want to keep stealing everything like Alexa and all the other ones are doing. But again, for something that's built in, now we're going to see Robert twice. For something that's built in, you'd think that they would figure that out and just do it.
Yes, although it's fascinating that we live in a world that is so complex that while I hear about a lot of different issues that go on, I certainly do not hear about all of the issues that come into play with all of these things. I mean, many of these things are first time that I've heard, but then of course that's what has created the answer that Greg shows us that, well, look to Google, because you can't have been there. Fortunately, we've not all had to suffer through all of the problems of life.
It's true.
So, there you go. Yeah.
Anything else, anybody? Now, don't everybody speak at once.
No,
All right. Well, for February, I'll try to get it together a little bit. I've got a whole bunch of tricks and tips I've been putting together for Mac that may have been used, and I'll see if I can't get that together, and then also have something I can send out for everybody as well. We're picking up a lot of audio noise on your phone for some reason, Robert.
Robert, what are you doing?
I do have one quick question, and sometimes I run into a problem I really can't solve, and I need some help right now. Would it be okay to contact you,
Sure,
Greg,
if I'm available,
Robert,
yeah.
or
I won't be the
okay.
next 2 weeks, but after that I will be.
Okay. All right.
The cell reception in Quartzsite, Arizona is actually pretty good, except not right now because there's 3,000 people that live in this town, and there's about, as of today, there's probably about 1 million.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the cell towers tend to get overloaded pretty quickly.
Are you talking about where you're at, Greg?
No, I'm still at home at the moment, but on Monday we're driving out to Quartzsite, Arizona for a week.
Okay. Got it. I mean, we do all scramble around, and I thought maybe you were already somewhere.
No, not yet. I was really surprised when I got this iPhone 11 that Apple has 5G capability built into this iPhone.
I did 5G, really?
It actually says that in the upper
Okay.
right-hand corner. It'll actually say AT&T, certain areas it shows 5G.
5G or 5G?
I'm sorry?
5G or 5GE?
Now, of course, it's not doing it right now because my reception in this house is aluminum wiring, so it's like living in a Faraday cage. So I get like, if I walk outdoors, I get 4 bars inside next to the window. I get like a bar, maybe a bar and a half.
That was an excellent question. That was where I was going with that. Is that I have a feeling it says 5GE. Like I don't know who realized that. That's just a bit of false advertising by AT&T.
Well, what is 5GE?
5GE is AT&T's method to say, we know about 5G, we don't have it yet.
Oh, just letting you know that we could have it.
Correct. That's right. Right.
So this phone probably really doesn't support that, right?
Correct.
Oh well.
But it will, and when you buy the next one.
Oh, there we go. That's like the eye doctor when he was giving me a shot in the eye the other day. I said, "Is this gonna hurt?" He says, "Won't hurt me." And I said, "Well, that's really useful. Will I be able to drive? Will I be? Is driving going to be affected? Not mine. I really needed to hear that, Doc.
Yeah.
Keep your day job.
Is there really any advantage to the user to have 5G? Isn't it just a way that they can get by having more signals multiplexed together?
5G is an interesting animal. It is the technology of 5G is such that at some point in our future, it will be a phenomenal new technology. But today, we're not doing anything beyond putting our toe in the water. In other words, when Verizon or such wants to install 5G, they might go to a venue like the Ducks Pond and install 5G in the Ducks Pond, and it will be available to about 80% of the people in there because the coverage of 5G is very, very limited in distance. But if you are underneath an antenna, you can get amazing bandwidth. And what it's going to be is it will be viable when all of the ISPs include 5G as a component within the modem that you purchase from them, because it will bring about the ability to mesh network better than what we have today. It's highly reliant upon lots of antennas, and so today we don't have lots of antennas, and it is inordinately expensive to think that we're going to automatically create lots of antennas everywhere overnight. But ISPs, as they install it into the routers, as we upgrade our routers someday, yes, it will be in all of our routers. It's kind of like that technology that finds your device. If it has a tag that you attach to something, and it
Hey,
has
Robert.
Bluetooth.
Robert, with your phone rotated, there all we see is your hand on the steering wheel.
Okay, all right. Well, my phone just keeps rotating around there.
The magnet's not holding it?
I have to tighten down on the port that holds it. But anyways, there's devices like a tile that you attach to a device, and when anybody comes by, and that it will automatically, their Bluetooth phone that comes near your ladder that has a tile on it will automatically upload the location of your ladder, because that other person's phone had Bluetooth and was in the vicinity of your ladder.
Okay.
And so it goes up to the cloud, and then you get advice of where your ladder is based upon somebody else with Bluetooth having a tile user having proximity.
It's all really great and it works wonderfully, but only when another tile user comes near your ladder.
Okay.
So it's great, but it requires lots of other people to be in the group to be able to take advantage of it. It's great technology, but it takes a while before it becomes useful.
It sounds like it's highly hackable.
Robert, what is tile and ladder all about?
Okay, if you had a ladder that you felt
Don't you remember Chutes and Ladders?
Yeah, if you had a ladder that was worthwhile, you might attach a tile, which is a device you purchase, onto that ladder. It's a little like a key ring. And that you purchase the tile, and the tile becomes something that other people who have are using to attach to their stuff. If you are a contractor, you're going to attach a tile to your ladder and your compressor and all the things that get left behind, get left up in the attic when you're finishing a job you forgot to.
This is similar to like those little devices like tracker or whatever it is that you put on the dog, you put on your keys and all that kind of crap.
Exactly.
You leave it behind.
That's right.
Bluetooth or whatever from everybody in the country is figuring out what's where so that you might be able to find it.
Right. It's a group locator kind of thing. And again, it works wonderful, but it takes a lot of other people, cooperative effort. It's a group effort to find things. So yeah, it's me. And so back to the point is the 5G is going to be wonderful, but only after there's lots of people participating.
So we're really a couple of years off for practicality,
yes,
right?
Correct. Right. Right. You're in the same way your phone today can probably pick up 3G without a problem. Your phone's always going to use 4G whenever it is available. And today, for the most part, everything is 4G. So 3G is not relevant, but it is there. Your phone can make use of it if you find yourself in an area that doesn't have 4G yet. It pops back to 3G and you never know about it. That's right. Oh, there we go. Yes.
I keep hearing a rumor that in the not too distant future that my iPhone 5S will no longer be usable because of 5G, and like it or not, I'm going to have to spend the money to get what is it, the i11 or whatever, in order to even have cellular service. What's the story on that?
It's called FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Right.
And it allows people to think that they need to do something, and then they do it. And if enough people do it, then all of a sudden we have a group effort, and we might as well go there because we've gotten everybody to step up and to get that newest and latest technology. You really don't need to worry about it. Don't let that be the thing that causes you to go out and spend money. Somebody would like you to. You won't get hurt if you do spend money, but don't worry about it. And you don't need to worry about it because there's so many people that are. Oh fuck. Oh, never mind. There's so many people that are cheap and don't spend money that they keep the old versions forever viable, because they want to drop a technology, but so many people are still using it that they can't. That's why Microsoft exists, still supporting, or not supporting. I mean, that's why, you have an old computer, it just keeps on working. Just because Microsoft is running, it has a Windows 10, doesn't mean your Windows XP computer doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so that being the case, because I've been debating my battery in my 5S is getting, it's not holding charges too long and so
Right.
forth.
Correct.
So I've been debating whether to spend the money to have a new battery put in, because if in a few months I'm going to have no choice but to buy a 5G phone, why invest in the 5S? So following what you're telling me, then am I correct that it's financially very sound to get a new battery for my 5S and keep using it?
If Apple's willing to sell you a battery, buy the battery.
I don't know that Apple offers the battery. I've got a place literally around the corner here that does that sort of thing.
Okay. Well,
oh, he's gone. Stuart, was it you that just got the battery replaced in your phone?
No.
Oh, somebody this morning was talking about that.
Right. Everybody has a friend Louis that repairs iPhones, and I go. My judgment is not if my friend Louis will replace it, but if Apple will replace it. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to Apple to have it replaced, but I'm saying when Apple won't replace it anymore, there's a reason, because Apple's determined that it's not a worthy value for you to do. And so at that point, Apple's kind of trying to tell you something that's really not worth doing anymore. And so you might want to think about it. No, but take 5G out of the market. 5G is not the next versions of Apple's phones may not have 5G. A lot of people are saying they are, but don't bet on it.
Well, a minute, doesn't the 11 series iPhones have 5G? That was my understanding.
I do not think so.
Yeah, it like I said, it says it up there in the upper right hand corner, but it might be it might be advertising.
Does it say 5GE or 5G?
To be honest with you, I don't remember, and it's not showing it at the moment.
Yeah, right, exactly, of course. And our point is, it probably says 5GE because that shows whatever AT&T wants it to show. And they're trying to promote the 5. They're trying to put it in people's heads, 5G, and so that's where it comes from. It comes from AT&T wanting to promote the 5G mentality. Because
I'm on Verizon though.
Okay, and
I've heard that rumor in relation to Verizon, not just AT&T.
You've heard what rumor?
That in the very near future, I won't be able to use my phone anymore because everything's going to 5G and the 5S isn't
Yeah,
compatible with
rumors are not based upon what you have. Rumors are based upon where they want you to go, kind of thing. So they don't know that you are on Verizon, so they tell you or don't tell you this or that. 5G is where the industry wants people to go, and well, no, excuse me. 5G is where the industry is going to be someday, and they want people to buy the newest and latest and greatest. But there are very few phones out there today that really run 5G. It's difficult to buy a phone that runs on 5G. It's a new technology that hasn't been really figured out, and it's to that end why I say that I'm not clear that Apple's phones are going to be 5G, the next one.
Okay, well, if that's the case, there's really no point in upgrading, and I'll just get a new battery for my phone.
Right. The question is, does Apple sell the battery? Yes. Then it means it's worthwhile to get the battery. Then go to wherever you feel is the right choice for you to get a battery.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Thanks
Okay.
a lot.
Certainly, yes.
All righty.
All right, guys. Well, I think I'll call it then, unless anybody's got anything else.
Nope.
We'll see y'all. We'll see y'all in 3 weeks.
Sounds good. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And Janine, when we get back, I'll give you a holler and we'll set something up. All right.
Thanks.
You guys all take care.
Okay.
All right, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
You too.
Okay.
You too. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
That too.